and we want the fans out of their seat. We want to score goals. We want to give them, momentum on our side, and then on the flip side is when we don't have the ball, is it we got to be dogs.
But that finish is perfection.
There he is, Petar Musa with such a clutch goal to give FC Dallas the lead early on Saturday evening as they face Vancouver in the second leg of the playoff match. Of course, FC Dallas would give up a late goal and then go on to lose the penalty kick shootout, drawing their season to a conclusion that we didn't want, but with enough left on the field, which we'll talk about tonight, that I think we can still be pretty proud of this team's performance, considering everything that unfolded this season. So welcome, everybody, to the Afterburn Soccer Show. My name is Nathan. You can follow me at Afterburn Soccer over on X or on Blue Sky. And with us is our good friends who have been on this long season's journey, have been with us every step of the way. Of course, there in the middle is buddy Colin Coover, comes down all the way from Wichita Falls to watch the games in Frisco. Follow him at Mr. Coov. And our good friend Jose at El Chico Carmona, who's also one of these fans from afar, right? Fans from afar. That's right. But what an ending to the season after the really disastrous result. I say disastrous. It was just, Vancouver took care of business at home in that first leg and really looked the dominant team, a team that has been near the top of the West in the Major League Soccer league for Major League Soccer for the Western Conference. I mean, they just have been so good this season. Such a talented team, well-coached team. Deserved those plaudits. They took care of business when FC Dallas was in town, so FC Dallas were not happy with their performance, and Eric Quill challenged the team to raise their mentality, and they did. And really, for the first half, FC Dallas just really out-physicaled, if that's a verb. They just bodied Vancouver. Musa got that incredible fast break goal. Really thought Kamungo was close to having a second one offside, unfortunately. And then in the second half, as Vancouver turned to their bench, a very deep bench, they just locked down the game from their angle, and we were just minutes though still, despite a barrage of attacks from Vancouver, just minutes away from FC Dallas having a third game in against Vancouver to see what they could do. But instead it went to penalty kick shootouts, and unfortunately two of our young players skied their shots, and Collodi couldn't come up with any saves, and that's closed the season out for FC Dallas. So we're here to break it down and think about it, and then of course start to think about this offseason and what lies ahead for our beloved club. So let's jump into things right now. Just get some reactions to that Saturday penalty kick shootout loss. Kuv, we'll start with you.
I mean, it's just one of those things, like you said. Musa got us open with the scoring decently early on, like at the 25th minute. And we kept the pressure up in the first half. We were still going for it, still going for more. Did it early in the second half, and then it looked like we got to a point where, Vancouver started making their subs, and we had to go for it. And I'm not one to sit here and get on here and blame referees, but that was probably one of the most shocking. I sympathize with Austin fans with their Tori Pinto complaints now. I agree. Like, I don't know if it's she's not good enough for the pace of the game. There's multiple theories that I have with the referee background and knowing a couple of PRO referees myself. There's a couple of theories out there that I won't name or write off, but regardless, she was the referee. We knew coming into it what we had against us, that kind of deal. I mean, 3 yellow cards in the first 35 minutes. It's just not a good success when it's both your center backs and your defensive, your creative midfielder that can play defensive midfielder and Kappas. That's why I don't mind him getting subbed out at halftime, for legit. The one sub for me that was a little confusing that I didn't like was Julio coming in. I'd much rather, he's the fastest player on the team most likely just going to be over the top counter. That's fine. The reason I would have put in Sarver, honestly, Sarver's better in the press. Sarver actually is a lot more, we'll say, energetic and not mopey or whiny like Julio has been in the past. I mean, there's multiple instances of that. And Julio also was the candidate that helped us concede in that final goal. I mean, he had the botched clearance off the line, which why he's on the line in the first place, you can make an argument he shouldn't have been there anyway. But that botched clearance off the line is what pretty much gave Vancouver that goal on the silver platter. I mean, I don't understand how as a professional soccer player you whiff a kick like that, but it's one of those things. It happened, and instead of us sitting there and, I think that just killed our confidence going into pens. Even, when Musa stepped up, he had a powerful shot like he normally does, but it barely got past Takaoka. And let's not act like Takaoka is not a good penalty shot stopper. I mean, the man did it in the Canadian Championship. He did it in Leagues Cup. He did it throughout this season and last season. The man's good at stopping penalty kicks. I mean, it's his bread and butter type deal. So it's one of those things he's actually really good at, which is a little bit of a heartbreaker. And then like Nathan said, 2 of our young players got on the during the kicks. Delgado crossbar challenge was completed for him, and then Nolan. I can't speak for what was going on. It didn't look like a normal run up for him. Watching him take pens with the U20s and even with North Texas in some of those situations, he's usually quick with the run up, and he just walked up, and as soon as he struck it, I knew the confidence didn't look there either. And he had a really good game too. And that's something that was soccer is very unjust in its way sometimes. I mean, Nolan, in my opinion, had probably him and Urugide probably had the best. Him, Urugide, and Musa had the best game for me on the whole pitch. And for the season to end off of one of his mistakes, and then for him to end his season like that, it's got to be demoralizing. But funny enough, I texted him. I was like, "Hey, keep your head up. You're good. Just use it as a confidence booster. You're only 20, 21. Like, you got plenty of time left. I mean, you got plenty of time left, man. You're early in your career. Build on it, learn from it, and go from there. But overall, I'm not surprised. Let's be real. Making playoffs based on where we were in July is a huge accomplishment based on how down bad and horrendous we were. But overall, as a club, I know we'll probably get into this later, and I'll have my complaints later, but this kind of a season should not be the result of the ambitions that this club had back in January and based on the moves we tried to make. So that's my little teaser for later on. But overall for the game, I'm not too heartbroken by it. I expected us to lose Vancouver, just not in a penalty kick shootout at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the refereeing will be a source of at least some conversation. I don't like to criticize the refs too much, but it was a very physical game, and it seemed like was a very early yellow to Asaze, but then it wasn't a lot of consistency and some of that stuff. So it's going to be it was a tough one. This was a really a physical battle. Now some referees struggle to sort of imprint themselves in that and kind of set the tone early. But other side of things, Vancouver is a very good team, and so it's just a tough one. So Jose, get your thoughts about this penalty kick shootout loss.
Actually very proud of the way the team fought in this match. They're very aggressive. Something I think we're seeing a glimpse into the future. This battling, don't give an inch type play at home. I think that's something that we're gonna see more next year. I wish we would have seen it more this year, but compared to the first game, night and day. Compared to the first two games that they play against Vancouver, this is night and day. And I think we all are, heartbroken at the fact that they gave up that late goal. And to not to pile on Julio, but one of the reasons he shouldn't been brought on is because he hasn't really been getting that many minutes. And when he has gotten minutes, he just doesn't look to be in sync with the rest of the team. Sure, he brings certain intangibles into the game, but he just doesn't seem to be on the same page as everybody else. That time that he missed, it just seems that he was out of the loop. I can't recall a time where he's even looked in sync since he came back. So that was my puzzlement. I get why they brought him, but in such a key match where a single mistake can cost you, bring in the guys that got you here. And I don't think Julio has had much to do with the way this team getting here. Like I said, not to pile it on him, but we may have seen the last of Julio. I know it sounds like a puzzling comment, but he just doesn't seem to fit what Quill is trying to do. And if they keep him, it's because we're going back to a four in the back, which would require this team to go out and get an actual center back to pair next to Urugita. And how many years did we wait for Urugita to come in? So I'm not holding my breath on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to. I agree with everything that Koob said, and honestly, I'm just happy that they battled, and sad that they lost, heartbroken that they lost. But let's face it, it's not like we not like we all were very excited at the possibility of going back to Vancouver and getting a win.
Yeah.
Yes,
Would
I
have been
would
a
wish
tough
to play another game, but I think the way this team played this match, if they can bottle that and grow from there into next season with additions and getting rid of certain players, I'm okay with it. I'll live.
Yeah. We're going to be left with some of those questions. Of course, my take going into all of this was we were fortunate to be here in so many ways, and we forgot to put our few kind of field level highlights, which I really appreciate when we get from the home media crew. Shout out to the FC Dallas media crew for all their hard work this season, covering this team and the ups and downs and the rumors and this and that. It looks like it was a great crowd there to support the side. Just so many things lined up. But again, as you said, Colin, back in July, we didn't think this was even possible. And if it was, it might have been, kind of eking into that play-in game. And the team avoided that. The team came in with a lot of confidence, even got that incredible win in Vancouver, which I'm sure just ticked off Vancouver in truth. But such a battle, such an identity, a spirit that I think fans do want to see from this team. in the future, and I think can be that sort of that marker of what it means to be an FC Dallas a team. Getting back to sort of, we're not going to outpossess teams all the time. We're not going to be the the tiki taka kind of style approach to soccer. It's going to be a style of soccer that's physical, that's aggressive, and that takes advantage of the heat of the environment we have. I think those are the things we're going to see. So we saw that. We saw that here in the second leg, especially. We saw just a team that found a reason enough to fight back. And so I think that's the positive you take from it, despite it was just clear, like the team we needed a game changer off the bench. And maybe Sebastian Lejek could be that. But the guy hasn't been on the field much lately. He's not in form. Anderson Julia, I don't think he's really in form. He did. But these guys have not been getting onto the field in games. I mean, I think we're still seeing a roster very much in flux, and that's been a theme on even the way we started this season. So there's just a lot of questions, but there's still a lot of potential. And I think getting some quality and seeing Quill get buy-in from some of these guys, including some of the young players, with all the ups and downs of the season, I think gives us a lot of hope for what's to come, even though I think there's a lot of work to be done with this roster. But let's go ahead and jump over real quick and hear some of Quill's comments after the game as he spoke to media. And I think the question was really from a reporter was just basically like, you kind of, with the way this team has grown, are you kind of, just disappointed that you're not, we're not getting more time with this team after their growth? And here's what he had to say.
And watching just the pure desire and the honesty of why we got into the playoffs at the beginning. I mean, these guys are fighting tooth and nail, and it's just not. It's hard to imagine it being over now because of what they're putting forth and the quality and the training environment. It's been a blast to be on this run with them. But what I take solace in is I know we're going in the right direction, and we should feel really good about that direction right now. And yes, we wanted to move on, and there was no question. These guys fought like they wanted to move on, but we're coming.
See, Dallas is coming. They're gonna get stronger. All right, so let's do some grades looking back at the season. I know we'll have a lot of time to think more, and we're expecting some roster decisions to start to come out maybe later this week. Although FC Dallas traditionally they slow walk their stuff. They go right up to the league deadline to release for us. Other teams have already put their stuff out, but I'm expecting pretty soon here, next week or two, that we'll find out whose contracts are being picked up, all that kind of stuff to come. But just looking back, let's do 2 grades, right? First of all, let's just say, as an FC Dallas fan, what grade in a classic A to F, would you give this season, and taking into account all of the ups and downs, the drama and everything? And then also, how would you grade Quill in his first year as a head coach for FC Dallas, which was a learning year for him? Definitely. We learned right along with him, but how would you grade the year overall as an FC Dallas fan? And, how would you grade Quill's first year?
I'll go ahead and I'll say I'm going to give this season a C minus. And I don't know if that's being generous, but I think we were at an F for a long time. And that C minus is after this team clawed its way back. But let's face it, even with them clawing back, we all knew that this team really didn't have the juice to make it past Vancouver. And like I said, it just had way too many holes. C minus might be generous, but that's more because the team finished on a high. Despite the loss to Vancouver, this team finished on a high, and it gives us hope that they'll be better, for it going forward. This is the first year of what's probably a 3-year build. So to see Quill Um, and he's getting an identical grade because his coaching was very hard. There was a lot of times where he clearly got out coached, and some of that had to do with certain someone that's no longer here.
Mhm.
Probably had a lot to do with that. It's very hard for a new manager to come in and then be, you know, have an anchor wrapped around his waist while he's trying to, you know, swim in the deep waters at his MLS. So I feel for him, and he clearly got into his groove later in the second half of the season. But I think the grade mirrors the same as the team. C minus for the team, C minus for the coach, and they both finished on a high. Both were deserving of lesser grades. And that's
All right. 2 C minuses.
Man, yeah, for me, Jose kind of took my C minus that I was going to give the team for the year, but but as he was talking and everything, I kind of started analyzing it. I mean, I'm gonna go for the wider expectation, and people would say, as an FC Dallas fan, the expectation is the minimum, right? It's make playoffs, give it a bit of a fight, just make your appearance, put your name in the hat, and then dip out. And if you go far, great. If we don't, cool. And that's a successful season. Screw that. All right. Here's the thing. Beginning of the season, we signed a former MLS MVP with intentions to go out and win this whole thing. All right. We did a huge roster overturn. We probably had the most active transfer window in the club's history, at least recent memory, without us losing a crap ton of players and MLS signing free agents. So we actually went out and signed a TAM level center back, which the only center backs I remember being ever foreign in the past 10 years have been really Rito Ziegler, and that's really it. I mean, we signed Rito Ziegler as I believe he was a low level TAM player, if not just normal contract player and international. Since when have we signed a big roster designation to a center back? And that's something that we desperately needed after trading away Coase and let alone having a not great defense last year. So it's one of those things where we needed to improve, and we went out and did it, and we still need improvement, but we went out and saw the need and got that. We needed a creative number 10 after trading away Jesus and Paul. Obviously, Jesus needed a change of scenery, and he hasn't done amazing for Seattle, but he's done good. And that trade for us, we ended up basically trading him for the GAM that got us Julio, and Julio was an absolute flop in the season. I don't care what people are going to say about, oh, he started out good. Julio, being a TAM level player and being an international roster spot, did not produce what he needs to produce for that roster designation, and we need to let him go this offseason. We look at the season, and with Lucho, you go look at FotMob or SofaScore or look at how his match ratings were, and he's one of the better players in MLS still. I mean, he's doing great on his dribbles completed and his passing and da-da-da-da. But there's no cohesion. The man would try to take on people by himself, and he wouldn't lay the ball off because he didn't feel confident. He didn't have any chemistry besides with anyone but Musa, and it was basically the attitude of, I'm better than anyone, and the only person that can rival me is Musa, so I guess I'll work with him. Look at what he's doing in Fluminense. He's getting outplayed, he's getting outchased, and he's having to actually pass the ball. He looks like more of a team player if you ever watch a game of Fluminense. Go watch some highlights, see how he plays. If you played like that here, maybe it's a different story. But the man seemed like he just wanted to get out of Cincinnati and change the scenery and just get out, which I don't blame him. And Dallas was the one offer where I think we weren't trying to rework his contract for lesser pay. I think the other offer, he had funny enough, I think the thing I heard through the grapevine was there was a swap deal with Portland for the Evander deal where he would go to Portland, and Portland wanted to rework his contract. And then I also heard the other club back then that was trying to sign him for a trade was trying to rework his contract where he got paid less. So they took the Dallas deal because I wanted to pay more. But we also in the cash player trade clause stuff that they implemented this year, which is huge. But then also we weren't going to touch his precious contract, which that man got paid way too much to just step out on the field, let alone do nothing. So I mean, overall as a season, the beginning of the season was just straight up F. If you could give F minuses, I'd give it like a 40 out of 100. It was god awful. there were some good positives, finding some young players that were doing well, but man, it was not worth it. And then I don't see how you can ignore. Um, it's pitiful, but 5 wins on the road and have the best road record in franchise history. Still pitiful, but you can't. You're doing good on the road for which is not normal for FC Dallas, so that's a W there. Get some points there, and then also having that insane run from July to now, which I think was one loss before playoffs. A decent amount of draws, but just one loss without Lucho. So that's something that you just can't turn your head to and turn away from. So I give it overall a D plus probably is what I would say on that. And then you look at Coach Quill. I mean, here's the thing, man. He wanted to come in and do a 4-2-3-1, which he did that, and he realized, hey, I got to change this up. So he started doing like 5 at the backs, 3 at the backs, a 4-4-2. He didn't sit there and pull a Nico and be like, you know what, this ain't working, but I'm still going to pull it out each week and we're going to figure it out. Like, it wasn't that. He tried to adapt based on what his players could do and based on what the team needed to do and what it could fit his players. And he knew that Shaq Moore had to get forward in the attack. He's really good at attacking wingback. He knew he had to get Ramiro in a spot where he can, be defensive, but also be a box-to-box, not just be a straight defensive midfielder, which, I mean, Kaique, he didn't trust at first, but as Kaique got more experience in playing time, it worked. Quill's adaptability and willingness to keep fighting, I'm going to give him a grade of a B minus. I'll be honest, for a first year head coach, for someone who, I mean, had no experience at the top division level, and coming in here with only experience from USL League One when it was a thing and USL, I mean, it's something that he came into a league that is stronger, faster. You need more adaptability, and he brought adaptability to FC Dallas that I have not seen before. A coach that's willing to change his tactics, change his mindset, change everything around with him, and continue to grow and not just be stagnant like Nico or even Oscar would at some points. Oscar was beaten into the heads of the 4-2-3-1, or the 4-3-3, and I think we saw what was it? It was 8 formations this season with our personnel, which you look at that and you're like, holy crap, but that's how bad we were. And we had to figure something out, and we did. And once we did, it was good to go. So credit to Quill on that. I got to give him a B minus for his first year as a coach. And also that, again, he coached us to our best away record in franchise history. And then he also brought us on that huge stretch to get us into playoffs, which no coach has been able to overcome that point differential for FC Dallas, let alone I think it was only 3 other clubs that overcame that point differential to make playoffs, and that was back when playoffs were 6 teams and 7 teams. So I gotta tip my hat to Quill on that. Beginning of the season would have been again probably like a D plus D, but with the improvements he made and the changes he made, and never stopped believing and coached his team to make playoffs, got to give him a B minus. I got to give him his flowers.
Yeah. Well, all right.
Before you jump in, Nathan, I want to correct something that Coop said that I wholeheartedly disagree with. I'm not questioning his scoring or anything like that. It's just one thing he said that I won't let go, and that is expectations at the beginning of the season were not rosy. We were a team that everyone was talking about, wooden spoon challenger until they signed Acosta. And then they said, okay, well, maybe we can make the playoffs. But nobody said, hey, we're taking MLS. No one said we're making the playoffs. We were a horrible team. Acosta got signed, and everyone goes, okay, we got a shot. But Urugiri was an unknown. We all love him now. Nobody was loving his signing at the beginning of the year. We're just excited we got another center back, but we had a lot of questions. The guy that we got, way better than we could have anticipated, but nobody was thinking that at the beginning of the year. Kaique, nobody expected anybody. Everybody was scratching their head. They're like, hey, this is Enes Ali 2. So that's my only thing I want to correct is expectations, not great at the beginning of the year. They improved some with Acosta, but not everybody was buying into that. Some of us were somewhat excited at the possibility that we would be able to be a dark horse contender. That never materialized. Other than that, I agree with everything else he said.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go. I go with a C plus on the season just because I think as much as Lucho's signing did seem to raise the potential ceiling, I think that's what we were talking about. Like we knew this roster was a mess, and there were question marks about Quill's coming into it and how much Quill had a say in the Lucho signing and in these others. And of course, I don't think there's many coaches that would say, "Oh, you want to bring in former MVP of the league?" Would say, even if it doesn't fit their system, they're going to probably be like, "Well, we'll try to make it work." We want a player who can raise the ceiling. So it was. I mean, it increased the optimism of the FC Dallas fan base, I think, in a lot of ways because of the miserable year of last year. And so I hear that, but at the same time, we still were rolling out Ibiaga. We had these pieces on the roster that we thought they're getting older. We know what they can do, and they're decent roster guys, but they're not good enough. They weren't good enough last year. We had questions at right back, questions at left back. I mean, we forget that we sold Marco Farfan in the middle of the season. This has been a weird season. This has been we've had injuries that have impacted guys. So I think that we ended up where we did, and with some clarity about the team's future. I'm going to go with that C plus, and I'm going with the solid B for Eric Quill in his first year. So I can see a B minus. Yeah, we could quibble over that and whatever. But because I think he did his job, which was to get this team relevant again, to begin to give us a sense of an identity that we can get excited about. And probably the biggest thing that I think bumps them up for me is that I think we're going to potentially see a return to the youth movement. I mean, to get quality, get something positive out of a kid like Pedrinho, who it's just house money at that point. I mean, it's just we didn't have high expectations. We've seen that he had a great season for North Texas last year. He's young, still has potential props to grow, but to be able to get the kid like that to buy in, to get something out of him, Sam Sarver, Quill's buy-in and appreciation for him, to even give Bernie Kamungo some extra life, Kaike some development, to get something out of Christian Kappas. Torquato. I mean, all right, we got a B plus for Quill. So I think that's really positive because if FC Dallas, we know we're not going to go out and spin like an LAFC. It's just not going to happen. I mean, we're going to have to find players and quality in unique spots and wait for those right deals, but then to really develop talent, to trust guys, to trust some of these kids and help some players take the next step. And if Quill can do that and be that kind of coach that believes in guys, gives them the right chance, puts them in positions to succeed, I'm excited about the future. Even if next year is going to be an up and down, because we'll see who they can go get defensively. We'll see. There's still some problems in midfield. Like Ramiro, I think, is a decent piece on this roster, but I don't know that we're going to be able to rely on him for tons of minutes next year. And if he can maybe Kaike can step up more on Kappas and they can be that partnership. Maybe Pedrinho can compete for a number 10 and we end up with a quality number 10 for cheap, but I think there's still lots of pieces that the roster needs to be improved upon. I think that's what we're going to wait to see. So a good B for Quill. Can he implement his vision? Can this roster get in a better shape? Can we figure out who is that left back position? Is it going to be what the formation's going to be? Can we find some diamonds in the rough to really deepen the roster? Because this roster needs depth for sure. So I'm excited. Even if next year's a bit rocky, I think Quill has earned an opportunity to kind of develop this team some more and really get things into shape. I mean, there'll be big questions waiting for us over the offseason, so we can start to talk about that now. But good stuff, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate WCMMP.
I want to add, I know my grade. I'm not changing my grade on Quill C minus. It stays there because I believe that his decision, he cost us several matches with his formations and decision making in the first half of the season. But it's also probably because I never bothered to separate upper management from this I think the fact that the team finished the way it did, with, I mean, you got Lucho, Paxton not available for pretty much the entire season. Uh, what's our right wing back that's injured for the entire season? I mean, upper management did very little to help him. About the only thing they did is they brought in Kappas, who was his guy, and that may have saved the season. That combined with Acosta being gone. So I think when I say C minus, it's more has to do with the fact I'm probably grading him and upper management combined. But I think
Sure.
the fact that he had all those negatives, this, and also being a first year coach, shows that he's the right guy for the job, because all that help we think management will bring in next year, probably not going to happen. It's going to be bargain basement hunts. It's going to be guys we've never heard of that they're going to take a gander on. It's going to be, I mean, if we're lucky, we get one or two guys we're excited about, but we're going to get a lot of guys that we're going to be scratching our head and hoping that we get another Urogiri or two type players in there and cross our fingers. That's how this team operates.
Yeah.
In management, and the fact that Quill was able to turn, like I said, a team that we all said was an F for the first half of the season, and turn around and make a run with all of that dragging him down, having to figure out how to make this roster work and figuring it out and getting the team to buy. I think this is the right guy for this management, and I think if he plays his card right, he could be here a lot longer than some of the other managers that we've had that stayed here for 3 or 4 years.
I mean, Zanota, look, fans, be critical of him, and but it's wild because it is. I be critical of him, but I recognize too, like, the guy gets some deals done. I mean, we really didn't lose money on Lucho's departure.
Here for his selling, and some of the selling that he's done has been amazing. Amazing selling some of these players, getting money. I mean, even whisking Lucho away midseason. I mean, this guy has a magic wand. So you got to give him 2 grades. You can give him an F grade if you want for his acquisitions, but he's an A+ in selling, and that's going to trump anything else he does. And my one saving principle that I think he can have going forward is just get Quill the guys he wants.
Yeah,
and that should be enough. As long as he does that, even if they're not the best players, I think Quill can make it work. So,
I mean,
I'm willing to give him a break and say, hey, as long as you're bringing Quill's guys, we'll be fine.
I mean, he got us Osaze, and I think Osaze fits this team. It fits the mentality that Quill wants. I think Christian Kappas, no idea this kid. I mean, we know the FC Dallas connection, but gosh, he really has helped this midfield and has been such a leader. I mean, Kayike, I'm excited about his future. I think, yeah, he's got room to grow. He's young. I think Patrickson Delgado, we've got something there too to build around. I mean, we may not need that number 10 if he can fill that slot. I mean, so yeah, and frankly, I'm excited about Nolan Norris. I mean, it's crazy getting that start on Saturday, and I'm like, just let's see if he's a center back. Let's see if he can. I know he's played there a lot. He may be that left back that Quill wants to use in that way, but I'm fine if we say let's pair him with Osaze and see what develops there. I mean, but yeah, it's an interesting scenario because the other side we know, brings in Abubakar, and Abubakar has had some good moments, but has also left us wondering.
You're doing a lot of work there, Nathan.
I know. Well, hey, meaningful reinforcements on the way. So let's close out the show because I gotta skedaddle out here in a little bit. But let's talk about off-season priorities. And of course, we know there's reinforcements. We know there's going to be roster decisions. Ibiaga, Ledjet are a couple of names that we expect potentially to be gone. Some other like Abubakar. in what we saw at the first half of the season, his salary was like $800K, which was just like, what are you doing, FC Dallas? But then in this latest release, it's down to $400K, so we're not sure what happened, whether it was a buy down or something changed in his contract or a renegotiation or what. But $400K for a veteran guy who's, a good presence on a team. Maybe he's not the end because he seems like a wonderful guy. So we got questions. We've got these questions circling that the team is going to have to deal with and think about. But let's close out the show with thinking about this. We'll have time to think about it in a future off-season edition of this, where we'll really dive a little bit deeper into things. But what do you think is FC Dallas's off-season priority? Is it one position? Is it a tactical situation? Is it making some player decisions? Is it selling some guys? We have a goalkeeper glut on the roster right now. We may have Musa getting interest from out there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's start thinking about the offseason priorities. Jose, we'll start with you.
DP. We got 2 open DP spots. Fill them. That's your priority. Yes, I know technically they have 1 DP spot open, but that's if you're going with a U22 model. And let's face it, this team has failed miserably with their U22 signings. And the best way to make this team into a potential challenge, a legitimate playoff team, is go out and sign 2 DPs. Go out and get another midfielder. I love Kaique, but at his age, he should be coming off the bench. He should be a Sarver. We should be having guys like Sarver, Kaique, Pedrinho. Those guys should be coming off the bench. Nothing against them, but they're still young. Nolan Norris, have him coming off the bench. We need players that force those players to be on the bench. So go out there and get a DP midfielder, get a DP. If you're gonna play this 4-3-3 or 4-2 4-2-3-1, you need a midfielder added to this roster. And yes, I am discounting returning midfielders like Paxton and Leggett. Sorry, but we're talking DPs here. Bring a DP at midfielder. Bring a DP on the wings. That's what I want to see. Unless you want to go, 2 strikers, bring another DP striker. But that is the priority. Get 2 quality DPs. Hell, get 1 quality DP and a young DP that shows flashes. But that's the priority.
Colin?
Oh, 100%. It's got to be shedding some of this dead weight off and signing players that are better value, in my opinion. I mean, I don't mind running the 2 DP for U22. So either way, like Jose said, we got to sign 1 DP minimum 1 DP. We cannot go into next season with only Musa being our DP. Looking just quickly, I know, like you said, we'll get into this deeper probably on another episode, but Leggett making $900K to $1 million as a TAM player, and it's his final year. Unless we can get him for cheaper, let him go. Julio, who's an international TAM player, making $820K, final year of his contract. It's a club option. Let him walk. Freaking Ibiaga, old. Like, here's my thing with the center backs, and I'm gonna rant for a second. Something that pisses me off is the center back situation. Ibiaga is the most consistent, but would you rather have Boubacar, who at his ceiling is better than Ibiaga, and he showed it. He showed it multiple times by next to Ibiaga that he could outplay him and outshine him. It's just that Boubacar has his moments. Ibiaga is just consistent at like a solid 4, 5, 6. But Boubacar at his highest can play like a coach, in my opinion, like a 7. He can play higher if he does well, but he also has his moments where he takes down people for no reason for a red card and plays like a 2. It's for a lack of a better word, we need someone who's going to be like an Urgueta who's constantly playing at a 7 and an 8, at his lowest a 6 if he has one mistake. Seeing Luke's comment and for ready to pass. I mean, here's my thing, right? If we're playing a 4-2-3-1, We got to figure out the left back situation. If it's going to be Torquato, if it's Torquato, we can play 4-2-3-1. If it's Norris, we can play the 3-back and be comfortable because Norris can shift to that left back, push Bernie up. Julio, in my opinion, I, I think he's over it. I think he's done. And to be honest, I don't want to keep a player here who's going to mope and complain about us winning 3-1 and him not getting a ball to put us up 4-1. But anyway, I just look at the roster and I think to myself, very much like Jose does, something that we can agree on is we need to sign a DP. Now, where we defer and something that we need to do before we sign possibly 2 DPs is we need to get rid of a U22 player, which the easiest one to get rid of would be most likely Giovanni Jesus. The reason why he has a year left on his contract, only getting paid $400K. He's been injured the last 2 years with ACL. If anything, we could probably dump him in Brazil for a couple $100K, make a little bit of money back, and just move on with our day. NS Sally, need to get him gone. I mean, here's my thing. I think we can get him gone and moved, whether it's a loan deal to where we can just put a little patch on the tire and keep it going and rolling for next season and figure out about getting a permanent move later. But Salih's going to be young. We can get a loan deal done. But, man, if we need to get a U22 gone, Jesus to a Brazilian club would be an easy dump. I mean, Zanata's Brazilian. Jesus is Brazilian. He came from Brazil. It's written in the stars for him to go back to Brazil if he doesn't work out here. Plus, he didn't play well at left back. I don't see us playing 2 attacking fullbacks. Giovanni was really good, but with us having Shaq Moore on a good deal, no longer being a TAM player, I don't see us keeping Giovanni Jesus along for a while here for long term. Now, if we do the 2 DP model, expect Sally and Gio to go. But my thing is get us a DP or a TAM level 8. We need a actual creative midfielder. Capis is okay. He had moments where he could play a ball. Ramiro had moments. I mean, look at the ball he played Musa in behind to get him that goal. Beautiful ball. But Ramiro double checks, and he plays too passive. He cannot play a creative 8 position. Capis, in my opinion, is too lengthy and too tall. He doesn't have the movement to be agile and be able to play these balls in behind consistently. He's going to get a ball knocked off of him all the time. We need a Larmidi type where, yes, he might be slow pace-wise, but he's still got a little bit of agility and a little bit of balance to be able to take the ball away from a defender and play a 5, 10, 15, even 30-yard plus passes in behind, especially if we're playing a 3-back with attacking fullbacks. You could play it out wide for a cross into Musa, or if we run Farrington up top. And if we run a 2-striker formation, I wouldn't be mad about a TAM level striker and a DP8 or a DP level striker and a TAM 8. I think Farrington's good, and we can run Farrington again, but Farrington's bad nights. I don't know if it's good enough to compete for an MLS Cup. I love the kid, and I think he can get better. And I don't want to give him out yet, but like Jose said, players like Kaike, Farrington, Sarver, these are players that come off the bench for most clubs.
Delgado.
These are not players that start. Yeah, Torquato. It's one of those players where, like, we got it. Like, Delgado, it's so weird for me and hard for me to say he doesn't deserve to start or bench, but bottom line is this roster, lots of improvements still need to be made. I was talking about it with my parents, and they're like, well, I thought we did good. And I was like, okay, but if you're thinking about it, then there's definitely improvements that can easily be made to make us better. And with us shedding some of these contracts, if we shed Leggett and Julio, that's 2 TAM level spots. That is an international roster spot, and that's over $1.8 million in salary cap that we can use towards way better players. Even if we trade somewhere in league, we still have about $2 million in GAM to use. Don't know about TAM and what that number would be like. But man, we're poised to have another busy offseason in the league and abroad. Let's just hope we can take advantage of it and use it actually effectively this year and not punt on a for sure thing we thought something like Lucho would be.
I want to just say something. Giovanni Jesus, I don't want to see him gone. If he can play, if he is healthy to start the season, you don't let that guy go. And I'll tell you why. If we go to 4 in the back, you can't have Shaq Moore starting at right back. I'm sorry. He's a total liability on defense. And I frankly would not be happy with him as our starter with 4 in the back. If we're going 3 in the back, I want him starting as that third center back. That I think he showed that he can play that spot. He played really well there, and I'd prefer to see him there and maybe as a backup at right wing. But I think it's time. If you think Shaq Moore and Quill has said that that he could extend his career at that position, then I think it's time for Shaq Moore to make that position his. If the team goes three in the back next year, I want to see Shaq Moore at center back, not at right wing, which means there's a huge hole. And Endele, I believe he got injured, and he's probably done. I thought he was a guy that was going to compete at that spot, but I'm not so sure now. So I'm sorry. I think you put an investment in Giovanni Jesus. I think you have to hold on to him. If you think you can sell him, imagine if he gets a full season on him, you can sell him for even more. And I think that's a hole right there. And nothing against Ramiro, but he's another player that I'd rather see coming off the bench or being a rotation piece. That's just it. How many players are you satisfied as starters? Urugide, any three of our goalkeepers. Let's see, Musa and Kappas, and that's it. As far as I'm concerned, everybody else is good enough to start for this team, but there should be someone here competing for their jobs. If we had all the rest of the teams coming off the bench, if we had players that were better than those players, and those players were still on the roster and coming off the bench, we would be a legit contender. And that's just the way I'm seeing it. I'm just being realistic. There's probably 3 or 4 people that I'm happy if they're our starters next year. Everybody else, I'm happy for them to bring someone to compete. They don't have to find a replacement, but they need someone to push them, to either push them for their job or to push them to get better at their job.
That's a good question, Luke. Yeah, I mean, this is the guy who are our teams. I think Anderson Julio probably still has value. I think it's a club option. Let's trade him, create some space there, or maybe he fits if he's really supposed to play on the wing next year. He got injured.
I know. I want to stop you right there. I know you're going, Nathan, but look at Julio and look at Leggett. Julio got more minutes than Leggett down the stretch because Leggett was apparently injured or something. But when Leggett came in, he did not miss a beat. He integrated in. He looked like he knew what he was doing, a true veteran. And Julio comes in and he looks lost, and he's a one-trick pony. And
there's a reason why RSL was open to trading him.
Yeah,
even though,
there's a reason. And frankly, if you had to ask me if I can keep one but not two, who do I keep next year at the right wing, Julio or Sarver? Goodbye, Julio.
Easy, brother.
Sorry, I'm to the point where I'd rather play Sarver ahead of him. And I don't get me wrong, I think Julio is going to be phenomenal player for somebody. It's just not going to be FC Dallas.
So there's room to be made. So here is I think we're all on the same page. I mean, of course, I think Quill needs to have that conversation with the front office and say, this is the formation I want to build around. I mean, it's nice we now have this sort of, lock things down, fast break, counter, kind of pragmatic approach, and that's going to be there among this group of players, and it's going to be something to pull out on that. When you're preserving a lead, you're pushing for a lead in a tough environment. But my big thing is, and I already know the player. I just know there's just one player, and it's time for the Hunts to work and to go, and they need to roll out the red carpet. They need to make this case, and when they have Quill behind them, and Quill needs to be part of this case, and they just need to go throw the money bags at him and say, Weston McKennie, come home. Mm-hmm. Make him the highest paid FC Dallas player in team history. Before World Cup, the timing, and there were rumors that it was already being talked about, and he said like 3 appearances for Juventus so far. So it's like, this is it. We need that midfield player who can be creative, who can be a dog. He knows Quill. I mean, like, it's the time is right. Like, and he'll make this team better. He'll be that player. He'll fight. He'll excite the fans. I think that's the kind of DP we need to go get. He'll market the World Cup. Like, it's just, let's do it. It's time. Come on. And maybe that ship has sailed. Maybe Weston doesn't want to come, but I think it's going to be a story, just like Clint Dempsey coming to Seattle. I think there's a story to be told with this, and I think it'll fit the kind of player Quill wants. and it'll bring that balance and that excitement and the fight, and he'll make other players better. Oh my gosh! So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for this to be another exciting offseason. And I'm gonna send my vibes out into the universe for Weston to say, Weston, come back to real pizza, come back to tacos, Weston, come back to the Dallas that helped create you. All right, we need to leave it there, everybody. Thanks for the comments. We'll of course post the audio next week. You can follow us at afterburn.soccer, and of course we'll be looking for some other. We'll have another off-season podcast too. We'll try to figure that out in the next week or two and see where things are. But Colin, appreciate you so much. Jose, appreciate you so much. Miss Chris tonight. Try to get some guests on. Maybe
I'm looking forward to seeing the management. Who we keeping and who's going.
Right.
List. Really excited to see what that looks like.
And
Most
to see how the
likely
rest
in
of
the next 2 weeks.
rest of the playoffs go. It's kind of Vancouver.
I'm gonna leave you guys with a quick pop quiz before you leave.
All right.
We're all very excited that Cap was brought in as a Quills guy. But, there's actually 2 Quill guys on the roster, right? Do you guys know who that second Quill guy, which I'm kind of curious to see if his role will grow next year?
Paxton.
No,
But he's not one of the cool guys.
Mm-hmm.
no, there's another Quill guy.
Oh Lord, what was oh my Lord.
Deedson. No, that's not.
We never mentioned that guy, but yeah. I'll give you a hint. He's having a great season out on loan.
Wait, on loan.
Yeah. It's Carl Saint.
Carl Sainte. Yeah, Sainte.
Okay.
Saint.
Okay. Yeah.
Another Quill guy who's been on loan this whole time and has looked good. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's given a shot to earn minutes next year with the team. And like I said, he's a Quill guy. So I have a feeling there's a guy that I'm keeping an eye on. Mind you, a guy that can also play center back if needed. So I'm kind of curious of all the guys that I'm excited about their potential next year within the team. He's the one guy that I'm really curious about next year.
All right. Well, we'll see.
All right, guys.
We'll see those decisions. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you all. Afterburn.soccer. And long off season ahead. All right. Good night, everybody.
See you guys.
See you.
Good night.
All right. I got to transition to my 7 o'clock here in a bit and eat some dinner first. But appreciate